Hello everyone, 26/11, a great day in the history of India, when the journey of independent India towards becoming the Republic of India reached its final stage. Yes, the Constitution Day, when the Constitution was prepared, it was drafted, it was written. Now the question is that shall we look towards this positivity and take pride out of it, or shall we confine ourselves to that negative thought, oh my god, on 26th of November India was under attack, the Mumbai attacks, the day that glorified that ugly face of global terror, the day when as a nation we failed in the sense not that we could not maintain the internal security, we failed that yes, we let the terror take the center stage. Why that terror was given so much of the limelight? Why couldn't we give a blackout to it? Why couldn't we let that terror recede into oblivion? The lessons should be not learnt by the generations. The lessons are to be learnt by the security establishment. And as far as our internal security or external security establishments are concerned, they have taken their lessons very well. They have made sure that nothing like that should happen ever again. Then why should, whenever we talk about 26/11, we should think about that sordid event of Mumbai attack? Under the dynamic leadership of our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, it was decided to break the shackles of that pain and to take pride in the Constitution Day, when India was ready to become a proud republic, a republic that will tell the world that how a successful constitution, a very organic and a very dynamic constitution is to made work. Yes, 26th November is a very positive day for us. Let's try understand this Constitution Day and the message that come across to the civilization, to the nation through this day. Let's start the journey from 1929. Though we can start it from much behind the date of this 1929, before this 1929, but let's start it from that session of Congress in Lahore, where Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru take a pledge that yes, India will be independent and the aim will be Purna Swaraj, complete independence. On that day we decided that 26th January will be our Independence Day. We started making the efforts. The efforts did bear the fruit, but the fruit that we got it on 15th of August 1947, when the British finally left India as an independent nation. But how can we forget the significance of this 26th of January? Now that we were writing this constitution, you remember when the process started? It started when the cabinet mission of 1946 gave us the Constituent Assembly, which met on 6th of December. And then on the 9th of December, Pandit Nehru moved the objective resolution. Again, there are two ways to look at the day. The day when the objective resolution was adopted, or the day when the creation of this constitution, the Parliament of India came under the terror attack. Let's forget about the terror attacks. Let's think about the positive. Let's think about the achievements. Let's think about the glories that this nation have achieved. Let the security agencies take their lessons to make sure and see they have made it sure that never again there will be an attack on Parliament or on Mumbai. The security agencies must take pride in their achievements, and we should take pride in their achievements too. The security agencies that work under this great Constitution of India, the security agencies that protect this great nation, this great civilization and its people, they truly deserve a salute from all of us. Now coming back to this constitution, which was drafted by a Constituent Assembly, which on 9th of December moved the objective resolution. What was that objective resolution all about? Friends, it was something like, while we were being ruled over by the British, we were being exploited, we were being discriminated, we were being oppressed in any what way possible, political, social, economic, cultural, for more than 200 years. While the British were doing all this to us, the people, the nation, the leaders, they were learning some lessons. They were driving home some important lessons, that what is most important for a civilization to regain its pride, to regain its place in the world civilization. While we were thinking about all the positives, we were fighting against the British, and we were given a beautiful message that a great civilization like India must stand apart from the rest of the world which believed in bloody revolutions. India will become free in a non-violent manner. And we did achieve that impossible kind of a target, that yes, we became free through the method of non-violence. I am not belittling the participation or the contribution or the sacrifices of the revolutionaries. Obviously, yes, their blood is there in the roots of the fruits that we are tasting today. The fruits of freedom, the fruits of independence, the fruits of pride. But yes, ours was a unique example of mass revolution in a non-violent manner. Now, while we were fighting the British, and we realized that what will make this nation a truly great realization or a truly great civilization, as it has always been, it had always been. So the leaders were contemplating about the idea of making a new constitution. The objectives were given that this new nation, which is going to be independent, must also be sovereign. The idea was that we should be secular, but it was unsaid because this civilization had always been a secular civilization. The idea was that there should be liberty, there should be equality, there should be justice, there should be democracy, there should be dignity of the individual. There was so much. We were thinking, we were contemplating, we were discussing, and for 2 years, 11 months and 18 days we contemplated. While we contemplated, we realized that the objectives which have been kept in mind, they must be fulfilled. There were so many committees, there were so many subcommittees, everyone was taking into consideration those objectives. And when finally the constitution was prepared, we had to ensure that whether we were successful in achieving all those objectives or not. So if on one side there were the objectives, India should be independent, India should be sovereign, India should be democratic, on the other side we have now the provisions, the articles, the schedules and what not of this constitution. So are we independent or not? If the objective was that we should be independent, we have to recheck it, that have we achieved it or not? Are we democratic or not? On the other side, we had the provisions of the constitution that there is an independent election commission to ensure free and fair elections, and yes, the people of this country have the right to vote and there is no discrimination. That means the objective has been well achieved. So while we were trying to find out that whether we have found or we have achieved the objectives with which we started, we wrote, yes, India is now a democratic nation, India is now a sovereign nation, and in this way we got what we call the preamble of the constitution. And yes, it was written at the end of drafting of the constitution. So it is the objectives ensured in the shape of preamble. Because these are the objectives attained, that is why wherever there is any ambiguity, where there is any oblivion, where there is any misunderstanding, where there is no clarity, what the judiciary says, the preamble is the key to the mind of the constitution makers. That is the importance of this preamble. Now let's try to understand what this preamble says and what message it gives us. Friends, it starts with the word we the people of India. So the sovereignty has been vested in the people of India, and this is the idea of popular sovereignty. Now when I say the idea of popular sovereignty, let's understand there is something called legal sovereignty and there is something called political sovereignty. Now what is legal sovereignty? The legal sovereignty is the document itself, the constitution. This legal sovereignty ensures that there is rule of law. It provides all the basic principles according to which the rulers and the ruled, the people and the government will work. Now this legal sovereignty can only be modified or changed by the political sovereign. Only parliament, the political sovereign, can change the constitution, it can amend the constitution. But again, there is the idea of that basic structure. That means this popular political sovereign has been given the limited powers by the legal sovereign. The political sovereign can change the constitution according to the needs of the time, but they cannot undo the very spirit of this constitution as it was originally framed. Now that the political sovereign has the right to modify the legal sovereign, from where the political sovereign originates? The political sovereign originates from the popular sovereign. When we, the people of India, vote, our majority of the votes decides who will sit in this political association, the parliament, who will then manage the legal sovereign, the constitution. They will run the system according to this, but on the basis of the choice made by the popular sovereign. Now that is the beauty of this constitution. And look at it. In the last more than 75 years of independence, the record success of elections in India make us proud when we say India is the largest and the most successful democracy in the world. But for a very small span of time, 75 to 77, when this democracy was under attack, when this constitution was under attack, it has always been a great success. But remember, as I said, let's drive the positives out of the negative things. Even if there was 2 years of emergency, even if the constitution was trampled for a while, but the constitution rebounded. It emerged stronger than before. The 44th Amendment, so many things that changed. And even during that emergency, few of the strong things were done for the constitution itself. This constitution is genuinely a dynamic and a very strong constitution. Emergency could not do any damage to it and to its spirit. India till date and for sure throughout the civilization will remain a proud republic with a great constitution. Next is what we resolved in the Constituent Assembly, that we will make India a sovereign country. What is sovereign? Internally, externally we are sovereign. Internally there is no equal to the national sovereign. Externally no equal can force his will on Indian sovereign. That means internally nobody can guide the nation against the national interest, or internally nobody can go against the national interest. Similarly, from outside nobody can force us to go against the national interest, to make a compromise for the national interest. Let me give you a very small example today. When it was the outbreak of COVID-19, the Prime Minister of India, who represents that legal political sovereignty, who is the agency, it is not the person, it is the office who represents that sovereignty, he decided that day that there will be lockdown in India. Can any chief minister, governor or anyone in any state go against the decision that I am not going for lockdown? That means internally there is no one who is equal to the sovereign. That is internal sovereignty. Externally, even if America or Russia or China or any country, they ask India to do something particularly in their interest, it is our free will to decide whether we will agree with USA or with Russia or with China, or we will go against them. They cannot force us. We have to foresee the repercussions, we have to foresee the results. If our siding with America will benefit our national interest, obviously we will side with them. But while siding with them, we will not make a compromise with the international ethics and moralities, which is the rock bottom of our constitution. Look at Article 51. It tells us that the international relations will be taken care of in a civilized manner. That is the strength of Indian constitution, Indian civilization. It has given a clear message that not just internally but externally too, we will act in a civilized manner. And till date, we've been living up to the example set. So internally, externally, we are sovereign. Now, we are socialist. This word we all know was added by 42nd Amendment in 1976. But our socialism is not the replica of the Western idea of socialism. It was incorporated by 42nd Amendment, but it started from the very start, which means that it was the idea of mixed economy. And this idea of mixed economy is continuing till date. But in case there is any disinvestment, in case there is any kind of government transferring its responsibilities or functions to private agencies, that doesn't mean that we are making any compromise with the idea of socialism, because we have developed our own way of socialism. This way of socialism can at best be related with the idea of Fabian socialism, which talks about democratic idea of socialism and not the clear-cut idea of Marxian socialism. Then we have the word secular. I don't think that this word, while it was again incorporated or added by 42nd Amendment, makes any difference to the way we were living or the way we will live in future. Yes, we are secular, but the idea of being secular doesn't mean that either the uh, majority of the population or any minority should get anything extra. The idea of secular means we all are equal, we have the same rights, and that is it. Nothing special for anyone, because the constitution itself does not allow any discrimination. And I think we are moving in the right direction. The idea of being secular doesn't mean to appease anyone. Appeasing and being secular, for me, is totally two different things. They should not be tried to be even juxtaposed or tried to be projected as one. Democratic. Yes, we are democratic. There is no denying the fact. There are regular periodic elections. There are free and fair elections, irrespective of all the rant that there is this kind of compromise with the free and fair elections or this kind of. I think that the robust Indian constitution and a strong Indian nation must stand taller than all these fake claims. Our is a great democratic nation, and we are a great democratic civilization from the ancient times, the Vedic Sabhas and Samitis and whatnot. Republic. Yes, we are a republic. We have an elected head of the state, the president. Yes, we are a republic. We do not agree that there is any sovereign outside India. And then we aim to secure for all the citizens of India justice. The justice is not just a legal term for us, it is social justice. No discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, gender, whatever. Economic justice. We are working to eradicate poverty, and we stand committed. Where the great Europe, the so-called great Europe, is finding it difficult to arrange for its people the very basic needs of life, we are making sure that everyone gets adequate food while it was pandemic time. 80 crore people were provided food and are being provided till date. We are trying to do everything. Right to education, health infrastructure, we are working on it. We can always look towards the negative side, see how much of poverty in India, a very basic rudimentary kind of a definition to define the people below the poverty line and whatnot. Do we ever realize that it's just the 75th year of India being independent? Let's think about USA, the so-called great United States of America. Let's try understand today from this message. 1776, America says that we are independent, though it is 1783 when the Treaty of Paris was signed. Agreed. Americans call it 1776, 4th of July. That means you were independent on 4th of July 1776. 1861, there was civil war. The president who was asking to undo slavery, who was talking about equality, was assassinated. What was America doing at that time? Was America the America as we know today? That America then started its industrial revolution, what we say the second industrial revolution. That America where the natives were not given the same rights, where the blacks were not given the same rights. What kind of equality they were preaching? The America which claims to be independent from 1776, in 1861 it started its first step towards the idea of modernity with the industrial revolution. Gradually the things started improving, and by the time of World War I, America was thriving. Yes, it was thriving, but then the fall in America brought the catastrophic fall of global economies in the 1920s with the Great Economic Depression. Yes, that great America became once again great during World War II, and post World War II, that America was fighting Cold War for its ideology. Have we ever done anything like that? Do we have any examples for India to do something like that? And now let's try understand 100 years of America, 100 years of America being independent, 1876. Do we hear America being great? 150 years. Do we know America being great? It's just 75 years of India being independent, and India was exploited 10x more than the Americans were exploited. The day the Brits, they tried to put some more taxes, America revolted, and they were the Brits themselves who migrated to America. And they knew that we will not pay undue taxes to any foreign power, but we were made to pay. It took us some time to come together, and then when we came together, we drove the British out of India. And on the day of independence, when we were reeling under tremendous economic stress, within 75 years, we are ahead of Britain itself. Isn't it a good message? Isn't it a positive way to look at the things? Let another 25 years go, you will realize economically where you will stand. We are aiming to be a great economy, and we are working for it. Let's stay together. The responsibilities of we the people. Let's pay the taxes in time. Let's help the state, the agencies of the state, to make our country, our nation, our civilization great. Let's not pass the buck. Let's own up the responsibility to make India great. Politically, the justice has to be delivered, and we are delivering it. We ensure liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. But I'm sorry, in the name of liberty, nobody can allow you to speak against the unity and integrity of India, against the dignity of India. Sorry, we cannot allow that. You have all the freedom and liberty to criticize your government, but please make sure that there is a method to do it. We need to learn the basic manners. We need to learn that the government is not supernatural. We the people elect them. Who are they? They are also part of we the people. As we are, so do the leaders are. If we are good, they definitely will be good. And if there is any shortcoming, the shortcoming is the reflection of what we have chosen. Again, the message is, let's start owning up the responsibility rather than passing the buck. We try to create equality of status as well as of opportunity. And with the passage of time, this idea of equality has grown, be it the example of the third gender, be it the example of LGBT. We are working towards creating that equality in the letter and the spirit. We want to promote among them all fraternity. There should be that feeling of brotherhood in India. We are all the proud citizens, the proud people of this great civilization, this great nation, and we should ensure the dignity of individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. This integrity, obviously, yes, added by 42nd Amendment, right? So on that day in the Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November, that is today, in 1949, we adopted, enacted, and gave to ourselves this constitution. Please resolve today that we own up the responsibility to make this constitution work more efficiently, to make this nation more prouder nation, more greater nation, and we, with the idea of that sustainable development, will ensure that for our future generation, we will leave behind a more robust constitution, a more strong India, a more great India, and a proud moment for all of us that today in 2022, when we are talking about this Constitution Day, we are standing at that point from where the new trajectory of India becoming a great power, with the message of peace, with the message of trust us, we will not disturb you till the time you won't disturb us. Stand tall together, make the constitution proud, make the nation proud by your contribution, by your truthfulness, and make sure that India will always be what the Indians are. Jai Hind.